If you work with a lot of data in Excel, you know that cleaning data is not fun and can be, well, rather overwhelming. In this video, we'll show you how to make cleaning data in Excel really easy, especially if you're a non-technical person. Now, it's important for you to know that this video will show you what to do, then show you a few ways to accomplish each step. Put another way, this video is more of a guide than a step-by-step how-to because cleaning your data can be done in a few different ways, depending on how your data appears. So think of this video as a roadmap to help you spot what's wrong in your data and then point you towards some ways to fix it. To properly clean your data, you need to do the following. Remove any extra spaces, find and fix blank rows, blank columns, or blank cells, fix inconsistent capitalization, replace any inconsistent values, remove any duplicates. You want to standardize dates and numbers, fix incorrect data types, split data into multiple cells. And lastly, and most important, you want to put your data into multiple tables if applicable, and there's a big reason for that, of which we'll show you later. Now, let's get into it. Removing extra spaces. You want to make sure you remove any extra spaces in your data. The reason you want to remove these spaces is because they can cause big problems. For example, spaces can really mess up your formulas, it can screw up your sorts and filters, and your whole spreadsheet winds up looking like some unprofessional mess. So some ways to remove extra spaces include using the trim function, the clean function, the flash fill, find and replace, or even text to columns. Find and fix any blank rows, columns, or cells. Excel is not a fan of blanks in your data. Blank rows, columns, or cells may look harmless, but they can really mess things up and confuse Excel. Some common ways to fix this include filtering your data, then deleting any blank rows, using the go to special command to find the blanks. You can also sort your data to place the blanks at the top or the bottom, and even use find and replace with zeros and placeholders. You can also use conditional formatting to find blanks if you wish. Fixing inconsistent capitalization. Fixing your capitalization isn't just about making your spreadsheet look nice for the boss. Inconsistent capitalization can cause problems with matching and your filtering functions. Some ways to fix this include using the proper, upper, and lower functions, and possibly even the flash fill. Replace inconsistent values. Inconsistent values make your data simply unreliable. For example, if some parts of your data say NY and others say New York, Excel views them as different items, even though they're the same. Put another way, if you don't fix this, your data ends up arguing with itself. Some ways to fix this include using find and replace, using data validation, sorting everything, then scanning your data for any issues, and even using the lowly spell check can help you out. Removing duplicates. Removing duplicates is one of the most critical steps in this whole process because having dupes can really throw off your analysis, worse than an email where everyone keeps clicking reply all. Because if some of the same items show up twice or more, your totals will be inflated, your averages will get skewed, and every report becomes unreliable. To remove your duplicates, the most common way to do this is to use the Remove Duplicates feature found on the Data tab. You can also use conditional formatting to highlight the dupes and then delete them manually if you want, or you can even use the advanced filter to show just the unique records. Subsequently, you can also use the COUNTIF and unique functions. A word of caution though, always make sure to back up your data before you do anything. Standardize dates and numbers. Dates and numbers need to be consistent as well, otherwise Excel might get confused. For example, your dates may not sort correctly and numbers stored as text won't add up. Standardizing your data makes sure calculations, charts, and filters and so forth all work the way they should. Some ways to fix this include formatting your cells with a consistent date or number format, using text to columns to force Excel to recognize the numbers as dates, or you can even use the date or value functions. Fixing incorrect data types. Incorrect data types can really mess up your calculations. For example, any number stored as text won't work in formulas. Also, any dates stored as text won't sort. And in certain cases, a missing or leading zero can really change your data's meaning. So fixing data types makes sure Excel interprets your information the right way. Some methods to use include text to columns to force Excel to recognize certain data types, apply custom formats to your numbers that you may not use in any calculations, like employee ID, or even using the value function. Furthermore, you can format your cells as a percentage if applicable, going with a consistent currency format, and even going as far as standardizing certain Boolean values to yes, no, 1 or 0, true or false, so Excel will handle everything properly. splitting data into multiple cells. Another golden rule is to always break your data into the smallest meaningful piece. Splitting your data makes it way easier to sort, filter, create formulas, and analyze things. The classic example is if you have a full name in just one column, you can't sort by the last name or count unique first names. Therefore, breaking things apart gives you way more flexibility to work with. Some ways to split your data include using the text-to-column feature, flash fill, functions like left, right, mid with the search or find, or even the newer text split to separate your data into smaller pieces. Putting your data into tables, and there's a big reason for that. Tables can make filtering, sorting, and formatting a breeze. Plus, they automatically expand if you add new rows or even calculations. Furthermore, new formulas are automatically copied down, and using tables just makes your data easier to manage, more reliable, and tables really add a layer of convenience to your work. But here's the real problem you might run into. Most tables are often a giant mix of topics. For example, let's say you have a list that combines data about your customers and all the orders they've placed. Long story short, this is going to cause a lot of problems, mainly because Excel will have a tough time figuring out what customer placed which order. So to make your life easier, you want to follow the rule of one topic per table. To accomplish this, you want to group common fields together. So in our example, you'd group all the customer fields on one sheet and all the order-related data on another, and we'd wind up eventually having two tables, one for customers and another for our orders. Next, if you think you're going to eventually want to pull information from both tables, you're going to want to have a common field between the tables. In our case, the common field would be the customer ID. From there, you could connect the tables together using the customer ID and then begin your analysis. All right, so if you've made it this far, there's something I've been holding off on until now. And there's no doubt some people have already left comments to the effect of, "Hey, Prof, why did you go through all that nonsense when you could have just done this?" And they're right. So what they're referring to is the vast majority of these steps we went through could have been handled using Power Query. Yet the reason I didn't show it is because the intent of this video is to show the non-technical people how to clean data. But if you really want to boost your skill set, I strongly encourage you to learn Power Query because it's not as bad as you think. A lot of people tend to shy away from Power Query because it looks intimidating, view it as too technical, etc. But as I just said, it's not that bad. With respect to the content of this video, believe it or not, you can make the case that 8 out of the 9 steps could have been handled through Power Query. So I'll wrap things up here and give you a homework assignment along with some things to consider. Is Power Query worth your time to learn? Yes or no? Let me know your thoughts below. And don't be shy about that like, share, and subscribe button. And now here's another video.